Good day, listeners. Welcome to Election Insights, your go-to radio show for everything you need to know about elections. I am the host, Mauvette Ingham, and today I have with me my colleague, Mr. Donavon Fulford, who will take the lead for this show today.
Hi guys, I'm Donavon Fulford, here with another edition of Election Insight. In studio we have with us a familiar guest that you guys are all familiar with, Mr. Dudley Lewis, who is the election supervisor. But we have some special guests here with us. We have Mr. Willie Wesley, the Vice President of International Business Development from Election Systems and Software, along with Josh Horn, who is the account manager, also from Elections Systems and Software. We're going to speak a little bit about what we did today in the unveiling of the DS200, which is the new tabulating machine for the up-and-coming election. And we're going to dive into a little bit of it in relation to what the machine is about, what we can expect, and how the public will, be able to use this machine to speed along the process of elections. All right, guys, and I'm going to allow our guests to introduce themselves. That way you can put a voice to the names.
Hi, I'm Mr. Dudley Lewis, and I am the Supervisor of the Elections Department of the Turks and Caicos Islands.
Hello, my name is Willie Wesley, and I am a Vice President of International Business Development for Election Systems and Software. I've been with the company for about 23 years, and I would tell you I am very excited to be able to partner with Turks and Caicos to help facilitate your elections going forward.
Hello, my name is Joshua Horn. I'm account manager for ES&S, and I am extremely happy to be here and discuss the DS200 with you all.
So, Mr. Lewis, one of the first questions I definitely want to ask is that how was the decision made to move from our manual process that we've been doing for umpteen years to now going forward with a electronic tabulating machine? And you would understand that a lot of our voters, they're a little hesitant when it comes to change. So how was this whole process, came about?
Several years ago, I became knowledgeable about the use of the DS200 scanner and tabulator. And I contacted Will, and he took time from his busy schedule and visit the Turks and Caicos Islands and was able to let us know more about the DS200. And he had the opportunity to meet with the governor, the then governor. He met with the premier, and he met with the leader of the opposition. And I took this forward, and I was able to get legislation introduced for the use of the DS200 in the Turks and Caicos Islands. And we wanted to use this for the last elections, but I was unable to introduce the machines because of COVID being rampant in the islands. However, because of the benefits of the system would bring to the TCI electoral process, we were able to advance, and now we have introduced it for use in the TCI electoral process, and it will be used in the upcoming general elections.
All right, guys, so if you're wondering what the DS200 is, I'm going to allow Mr. Wesley to ease your mind and explain to you what the DS200 is.
Well, thank you for this opportunity. The DS200. DS stands for digital scan. This is a state-of-the-art scanner that will actually read your ballot and the vote choices that you made on your ballot, and it will tabulate those, and it takes approximately 3 seconds for it to scan a ballot. The DS200 is very good at identifying errors that you may make on the ballot, for example. And the nice thing about this tabulator is that it will notify the voter if a mistake occurs, and it gives the voter an opportunity to correct his ballot before it's cast and dropped into the ballot box. So there's so many benefits associated with it. It is a highly secure system. I know that many people are concerned about security, and there's so many rumors that you hear of machines being hacked and that type of technology, but I can assure you that these machines are designed to be impervious to that type of thing. All of the files that are used and collected are encrypted. We use 256-bit encryption. That's the level of encryption that is used in the United States military, and we use that for a reason. so that it has a history of being secure and it's never been broken. So you can be assured that nothing can be done to tamper with the files and your votes as they're being calculated on the machine.
Okay, so Mr. Bill, so today we would have had the unveiling for the cabinet members, opposition and the current government, along with a lot of, we call them VIPs, the governor, PSs, and therefore. We also had a sample of the public that came in to see the machine, understand how it works, and I'm sure a lot of them had a lot of questions. And something you touched on a while ago while speaking about, everybody's like, you've seen the election elsewhere and they spoke about how the election might have been rigged, the machine was hacked or tampered with. You spoke about the 250-bit key encryption, which, to me, like you said, is a military grade, and that has never been broken, period. For the public, can you please let them know that two things. One, I think today when we were at it, the machine, does it at all, needs to be connected to Wi-Fi, internet, or anything. That can also help to ease their mind in relations to the hack situation or the machine not being as accurate as it's supposed to be.
That is a very good question. The machines are accurate, and let me address that first. Prior to the machines being used on election morning, we will be working with the Supervisor of Elections and his staff, and we will test the machines to ensure that it's tabulating the ballots accurately. We'll create a test deck, and that test deck is run through the machine. We then we close it, we print the results, and we ensure that the results from that test deck match what was actually tallied on the machine. And then I believe you had a second question.
Yes, the question in relation to persons asking about the machine being tampered with or being hacked. The fact that they're thinking more or less the machine might need to be connected to Wi-Fi or internet.
Okay, thank you. These machines are standalone. The only cord that comes out of this machine is the power cord. And you plug it in so that it would function. It does have an internal battery in case there's a power failure that will give you anywhere from 3 to 6 hours of battery life, depending on the volume of usage in that time frame. But they're standalone. They're not connected to the Wi-Fi. They're not connected to any internet. They don't contain a modem. There's no way that you can remote into the machine. It is completely standalone and self-sufficient.
So you spoke about the machine being able to have an auxiliary battery in case of power loss. Let's just say, for instance, the machine itself, for whatever reason or the other, is not functioning at the moment. Is there any way for the voting process to continue?
Another good question. And absolutely, in the case of a failure of the machine, first thing we do is on the ballot box itself, we have what we call an auxiliary bin or an emergency bin. And so voters who are marking ballots with a pen or a pencil, they could then take those ballots and put them in the auxiliary bin or the emergency bin, which is a separate compartment on the ballot box from the compartment that contains ballots that have been tabulated. And then there's a process where if we have to swap out the tabulator, and it's my understanding that Turks and Caicos has backup tabulators, we would simply remove the thumb drive with the tallied ballots on it, and then we replace that machine, insert the thumb drive, then we open the machine, and once it's open, they do not have to rescan all the ballots that's already been tabulated, because that number is actually contained on the thumb drive. They would just continue voting from that point. Any ballots that were placed in the auxiliary bin using proper local procedures, they would then be fed into that tabulator so that we would have the total number of ballots that have been cast on that particular location.
So to piggyback off of something you said earlier on, the machine can pick up errors. So we've had situations here in the Turks and Caicos where ballots will be spoiled, or persons might try to be mischievous and put in double votes. Can this machine, from your professional opinion, detect those sort of things? Or what happens if a person should try something as mischievous as that?
Well, the machine itself will actually reject a ballot, if a voter tries to put in 2 ballots at one time, it'll reject it and kick them back out, and it'll tell you on the screen that multiple ballots are been inserted. So it won't do that. Now, as far as like a voter being able to vote twice, that's something that would have to be controlled at the desk where you register that voter to sign in. And typically when they sign in, they're given an authorization slip that they would share with the person issuing the ballots. Without that authorization slip, they won't be given a second ballot. So that's actually controlled with your local procedures. And no one is issued a ballot unless they've signed in, they've been given an authorization slip, and then they would be issued a ballot in exchange for that authorization slip. So there would not be an opportunity for a person to vote twice.
So, okay, in case I made a mistake, let's just say there's John Brown, there's Sally Sue, and there's James. I made a mistake and circled James and Sally Sue mistakenly. By our standards, more so that it's considered a spoiled ballot. If I was to put this into your machine, can your machine detect that, or does it give us an alarm that is happening, or it will accept it as is?
Okay, what our machine would interpret that as is a blank ballot. Because if you circle the oval instead of putting a mark in the oval, the machine thinks that it's blank because it's not reading outside that oval position. And so it would alert the voter that you've inserted a blank ballot, which may be a mistake. They may think that you circle it instead of filling in the oval. But nice thing about the DS200 is it gives a voter a second chance. So the goal is not to disenfranchise any voter. We want every vote to count. And so anytime it detects any sort of mistake like that, it's going to notify the voter. And right on the screen, big green buttons, it's going to give you a choice. You can return that ballot so that if you need to make some corrections or spoil it and get a new ballot, which is allowed, or you can cast the ballot as is. Sometimes, say someone is in a rush and they don't want to take the time to correct their error, they just want to cast it as is. And again, that is a voter's choice.
So my next question would be, so Mr. Lewis, hearing all of this, and you being the supervisor of elections, in terms of hearing what Mr. West has said to us, years past, we would have gone through this process to where once your ballot is dropped into a ballot box, that is it. Giving the voter an opportunity to correct his or her mistake as it relates to voting. From your standpoint, I'm sure these are some of the things that your department would have seen and would have understand the benefits of this new machine.
Yes, we do understand the benefits of this new machine, and the voter will be given that opportunity once he casts his ballot and that there are mistakes or something is wrong with that ballot, the machine reject that ballot. Yes, he will be given a new ballot to vote again.
So once we've now bypassed or gotten to the point to where all of our polls are now fitted with this electronic system, years past, our voting took hours to do in terms of, persons getting in and getting the votes in and then the whole tabulations thereof. Mr. West said it takes a total of 3 seconds for this machine for you to cast your vote. I'm sure that means the process of voting will be completely quicker than whatever we've ever had in the past, as it relates to also closing off the polls and giving results. From your point of view, how would you view that in relations to us now taking our elections to a whole different height, in a sense, in terms of, bringing something more robust to Turks and Caicos?
The elections or the polls will be closed at 7 p.m. Okay? And after the polls are closed, the machine will run that report, and those results from those polling stations will be then factored through to the returning officer. The returning officer will be allowed to count those ballots and give the name of the person or the candidate that have the majority of the votes as the candidate that wins in that particular district. Now, as far as the close of the polls and the amount of time that will be before we can give those results, previously we had to wait up until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, sometimes the next day, for those results. With this new system, within an hour after the polls are closed, we will be able to provide those results.
All right. So, Mr. Lewis, here we are now embarking on this historic election process for Turks and Caicos. We historically have always go to the polls with 2 sets of papers. One would be on island, one would be the district in which we are voting in. And we're used to putting ballots within a box now. Now we're introducing a new tabulation machine. In terms of your department, was all the T's crossed, I's dotted as it relates to adding policy and ordinance for the use of the new tabulation machine?
Thank you very much, Mr. Fulford, for that question. For the use of the DS200 scanner and tabulator, there will be only one ballot paper used. It's not like before where we were given 2 ballot papers, one for the All Island and one for the district. For this machine, you'll be given 1 ballot paper and it will incorporate the district and the All Island. The law was amended to allow the use of electronic voting in the Turks and Caicos Islands.
All right, so Turks and Caicos, we have come to the end of our show. You've been listening to Election Insight. I'm Donavon Fulford. Alongside, again, Joshua Horn. We have Will Wesley, Dudley Lewis. Join us next week, same time, same place, same folks, for more Election Insight.